Today we're going to be talking about the Game Boy Advance Micro. This thing is the third iteration of the Game Boy Advance after the original one. And the SP, just kidding, I don't have one. Now, what's cool about this little guy is, well, that it's absolutely tiny. If you look at it side by side with the original GBA, my God, it's just tiny. One of the biggest draws of this thing is that you can pretty much fit it in any pocket, and it slides in like really nicely. Like I can put it in my little breasty pocket here. Whereas this guy, it kind of fits, I guess. It's kind of big and bulky. However, the downside of this little guy being so small is that, well, a couple things. The biggest one is that it only plays Game Boy Advance games. In the original Game Boy Advance, if you were to insert a Game Boy or a Game Boy Color game into it, there's actually a little switch inside that flips the hardware configuration over so that it can play these little guys right here. The Game Boy Advance Micro does not have that. In fact, it won't even hold on to a Game Boy Color or a Game Boy game, and they just fall right out. Now, it does play all Game Boy Advance games, and it plays them quite well, in fact. And for as little as the speaker is, it actually sounds pretty decent. So I have the volume on this little thing turned up all the way, and I have it right next to my ear, and when I'm talking, I can barely hear it. In fact, I can still barely hear it even when I'm not talking. Now, another downfall of this thing is because it's so small, like, even with me, like, I don't even have that big of hands, but my hands just dwarf this little thing, and you kind of have to put your wrists together in order to get at the proper angle to play this. And the screen's really small. Like, my eyes are fairly decent. I don't need glasses or anything, but I imagine if I did, like, I don't know, it's kind of like, dang. One of the pluses of the screen being as small as it is the fact that it's sharper. In fact, I think this has the best looking screen of all the iterations of the GBA, but it's also less than half the size. This thing is tiny. However, one of the biggest draws for this thing was the fact that it actually has interchangeable faceplates. So if you don't like the color you bought, you can just swap them out. The one I got anyway, and there were different kinds, came with a black faceplate and a pink flowery one, as well as the blue one that I've been using. And these things literally just pop on. On one side they got little notches that clip in, and another one they have ones that actually slide in. So you go and put those two in first, and then those ones just clip right in, and look at that, I got a completely different Game Boy there. And once the faceplate's actually on there, it feels like it's part of the device. It doesn't feel like it's a special faceplate. It actually feels like it's permanently attached to the device, and that's pretty cool. I also got a shit ton of cat hair under the faceplate when I put it on there. So should you run out and buy one of these things for yourself? Well, that depends. Do you already own a Game Boy Advance or a Game Boy Advance SP? If so, then no, probably not. This thing's kind of a downgrade compared to the other two, but it is a pretty cool little device that for collectors like myself, sits nice on the shelf. And I gotta say, it served me well. I did carry it in my pocket throughout high school, and so yeah, I mean, why not? It's pretty cool. As far as Game Boys go, this is the worst selling Game Boy ever. It only sold 2.5 million units, and it was only on the market for about 2.5 years. However, these things have held their value surprisingly well. I bought this one brand new for around $100, and they still go on eBay for about 85 bucks, so the price really hasn't dropped on them all that much. It also came out around the same time as the Nintendo DS, so it was clearly meant to be more of a stopgap, something to tie people over for a holiday season, or something like that, until Nintendo moved on to bigger and better things, which they most certainly did, because the DS is awesome. Anyway, guys, thank you for sticking around and watching me play with my junk, and if you don't mind, I'm gonna play a little bit of Kirby and the Amazing Mirror, because I've never actually played it before, but I own a copy, so why not?